What's up everyone, this is Don Juan III and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you a hotly contested horror versus battle. Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise versus Negan from the Walking Dead series. If you're new here, this is Coffee Shop Comics, where we talk all things manga, comics, and anime. If that interests you, hit the subscribe button and we'll be uploading on a little bit more consistent basis. Also stick around to the end because the conclusion of this battle is not what you expect. The versus battle will be set up in 3 stages. The first stage is characters are a narrative, neutral battleground. The second stage is how each character would do in each other's narrative. The third stage will be full comp characters, meaning all published feats, including canonical and non-canonical verses. With all that out of the way, let's begin. Leatherface is the main antagonist of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He is a mentally diminished, cannibalistic, psychopathic serial killer who wears masks made of human skin, hence his name, and engages in murder and cannibalism alongside his family. Leatherface appears in this first film in the series and his 8 subsequent continuations and remakes. He is considered the main antagonist of the franchise due to him driving most of the movie's plot and appearing in all movies even though he takes orders from his older family members. While much of his early life is unknown, Leatherface presumably used to work as a butcher at a meat factory alongside his brothers and family. Throughout the years, Leatherface has undergone several shifts in personality and motivation following his first appearance in 1974, with each subsequent change largely depending on filmmakers' vision of the character to various effects. The franchise itself has been known for its inconsistent history and tone in regards to the events it portrays and the characters themselves. In his first appearance, Leatherface was characterized in having interchanging personalities depending on which mask he wore, in addition to the occasional cross-dressing. Both traits were never fully explored or revisited in later entries in the franchise, with the exception of the Next Generation. Regardless, Leatherface retains the overall characterization of being intellectually disabled, mentally disturbed, and fueled by emotion. Unique among horror villains, in which most antagonists of the genre are usually classified as sadistic or evil and having traits such as superhuman strength and resilience, Leatherface is characterized as committing his brutal acts as a means of following his family's orders, while also killing out of fear. Gunnar Hansen, who portrayed Leatherface in the original 1974 film, sees Leatherface as completely under the control of his family. He'll do whatever they tell him to do. He's a little bit afraid of them. In the documentary The Shocking Truth, Toby Hooper portrays Leatherface as a scared child who kills in self-defense because he feels threatened. Another unique feature of Leatherface is his weapon of choice, the chainsaw. This is not no ordinary chainsaw you can just buy at Home Depot. This is a fully custom chainsaw as shown in the 3rd movie. The chain of the chainsaw is abnormally strong, being able to effortlessly cut through structural wooden beams of a house in one swipe, and able to bounce off metal objects multiple times and not snap the chain or knock it off track. The chainsaw engine is also custom, being able to start with just a quarter pull of the drawstring. If you've ever tried to start a lawnmower or a weed eater before, it is almost impossible to get it started on the very first pull, nevertheless a quarter of that. This gives Leatherface incredibly good stealth in comparison to how loud his weapon is. Leatherface's durability is quite good. He has survived impalement with a chainsaw, multiple gunshot wounds from a 12-gauge shotgun, amputation in the 2003 remake, and possible drowning in the 2017 movie. Now on to his opponent. Negan is a main character and a former antagonist, as well as a survivor on the AMC's The Walking Dead. He is the former leader of the Saviors. He used his authority and resourcefulness to subjugate other communities to pay out tribute to the Saviors, in exchange for protection against the Walkers. After a war against the militia of his former subjugated communities, he was defeated and dethroned as the leader of the Saviors. Negan is shown to be charismatic, cocky, manipulative, brutal, and a ferocious man with a sarcastic and inappropriate sense of humor. Negan is a brilliant strategist and a strong, effective leader, having kept hundreds of people alive and is worshipped by many and feared by others. When he was the leader of the Saviors, he was shown to have complete control over his vast group and was questioned by no one, acting as a complete dictator. Negan also acted like a cult leader, as the Saviors all kneeled in his presence, and when asked who they were, they all responded in unison, Negan. Negan does care about the well-being of his group, as shown when he personally killed Abraham as punishment for the slaughter of many of his soldiers at the hands of Rick and his group. Negan believes that he alone can save the people around him and is willing to do whatever it takes to ensure their survival. Negan was also an extremely ruthless leader, willing to do whatever it took to obtain resources and supplies for his group by extorting them from multiple communities, threatening them with death if they did not obey his demands or gather the necessary amount of supplies. Negan is shown to be a cold-blooded killer who kills not just for survival, but to send a message and as punishment for disobedience, as seen when he brutally murdered Glenn after Daryl attacked him, even after he made it very clear that he would punish anyone who provoked him. He also has no respect to those he views as being weak, as he brutally slaughtered Spencer after the latter attempted to convince him to kill Rick, claiming he had no guts to do it himself. He explained to Gabriel that he wanted to help people through their weaknesses, and by being strong, he makes the world strong. This may explain why he uses fear as an instrument to keep people in line. By being hard on people, he makes them stronger and more inclined to survive. Despite his jolly, childlike behavior, Negan is highly intelligent and is incredibly good at reading people and exploiting their weaknesses, as seen where he almost immediately knew that Carl was Rick's son and that Rosita was in a relationship with Abraham. He is also shown to be capable of severe torture and will mutilate whoever does not follow his rules, such as Dwight and Mark, who had their faces burned with a hot clothing iron. Negan has, however, stated that he hates performing this punishment, but also sees it necessary as his rules matter. Negan is also highly prone to psychological warfare and is extremely good at manipulating and breaking most people into submitting to him. Negan doesn't kill unless he feels that it's necessary. He has stated to Gregory that he likes killing people, but only under the right circumstances. He was enraged by Simon's suggestion that they should kill all the Hilltop residents, because to him, people are a resource. Negan's weapon of choice is a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat named Lucille. The bat is a symbolic reminder of his dead wife, which helps him cope during the apocalypse. Negan refers to the bat as her, as if it was a person, and asks it to give him his strength. He was infuriated when Lucille was shot and loses his cool and flamboyant behavior when this happens. As a fun fact, Negan possesses the highest kill count of any antagonist encountered on The Walking Dead. Now, both of these characters have similar motives, but extremely different means of achieving them. Now on to the stats. AP, I have to give it to Leatherface. Leatherface's chainsaw is just too much to deal with, deals too much damage, and is a vicious hand-to-hand weapon. Negan usually doesn't deal with motorized weapons. Durability, I'll have to give it to Leatherface. Leatherface has survived being impaled by a chainsaw and amputation, which is far superior than what Negan has survived. Endurance, I'll have to give it to Negan. Unlike the other Walking Dead characters, Negan is well prepped and well prepared due to the fact he was the leader of the Saviors, so he was able to keep in great physical and mental health. Even before the zombie apocalypse, Negan was a gym teacher, so he was in great physical shape. It's been shown that Negan is easily able to walk dozens of miles no trouble, while Leatherface only runs around a small farm in Texas literally eating people because he is starving to death. Gear, I have to give it to Leatherface. This is due to the fact that he has a custom chainsaw that does things that are simply impossible to do with a real chainsaw. Experience, I'll have to give it to Negan. Negan simply has better feats than what Leatherface does. Negan has done far more with far less than what Leatherface has done. Negan constructed a group of people in the zombie post-apocalypse to the point that it was almost a cult. Negan possesses the largest kill count out of any character on The Walking Dead, totaling 230 victims, while on the other hand, Leatherface only has 31 victims. Narrative battle, I give this to Negan 8 out of 10 times. Negan is simply too smart, too cunning, too manipulative for Leatherface to handle. Leatherface fights on emotion, and Negan precisely exploits that emotion in people to take advantage of them. Even though Leatherface was impaled by a chainsaw, in that same movie he was knocked out with a blow to the head with a sledgehammer. Negan has been shown to be able to one-shot zombies and two-shot humans with Lucille. So by exploiting Leatherface's weaknesses, Negan simply taunts Leatherface into a broad sweeping strike with his chainsaw, dodges the blow, and then strikes Leatherface in the head with Lucille. It simply will not take that many hits with a baseball bat to the head to put Leatherface down. In the World Swap battle, I'll give this one to Negan 8 out of 10 times. Negan could easily adapt to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre verse in comparison to Leatherface having to adapt to The Walking Dead. First, due to his mental deficiencies, he would not be able to understand that zombies would bite you and that you are dead if a zombie bites you. And second, cannibalism is not suggested in The Walking Dead. And for the comp battle, I give this to Negan 7 out of 10 times. Yes, there is video game scaling for both characters, but in my opinion, both scale relative, and if anything, this gives Negan a better scaling. Now, a hater might say, oh well, there's a Jason versus Leatherface comic, but in that comic, literally Jason feels sympathetic towards Leatherface, so hashtag feel bad Feth. In conclusion, I believe Negan would take the overall victory due to his intelligence, charisma, and resourcefulness. That's going to wrap it up for me. If you agree with my conclusion or enjoy the content, please like, share, subscribe. Also check out the other Omni-lanterns. They also have some great content. Also a shout out to my illustrator Yeeks for the custom artwork. His link will be down in the description below. It's been your host, Don Juan III, and I'll see you on the next one.